Welcome to Debbie's Grill, where we talk about issues that matters to the state, void of politics, fear of favor. This morning, I'm very excited. Very, very excited. I want to talk about this, but I actually took my time to, get the whole issues about that. And that has to do with they just ended UN meeting where the president went to represent us as a country, and then we saw what happened globally. I don't know whether you actually listened to the speech of the president. This was mind blowing. It tells us that Africans, we are waking up. It sends a message that Africans, we've been cheated for so long, and it's like we've been quiet for so long, and that's the stance now. We are not going to be quiet. We are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to allow the little chops you drop in our hands. No, not at all. So we saw President Mahama representing us at the UN meeting, and then this UN meeting has to do with leaders of all, global nations coming together, discuss the welfare of countries globally, and then find solutions to them. They help countries that are so much indebted with conflict, countries that are actually suffering from poverty due to one thing or the other. And then you could see that Africa actually contributes a lot when that's to do with everything has to do with these UN staffs. But we don't really have a place. We don't really have a say. No African leader has a veto power to speak. I say, Momokwa, you are bench sitters. And then the Western leaders, they decide and everything, and then you have to swallow it like that. But then, at the end of it, Africa contributes more. And it was stated there. And according to President Mahama, there is a report that in 2050, when we are talking about vibrant youth, people rising to help, the nation globally, not only Ghana, but the whole world, it has to do with Africans. So why are we being sidelined? You get it? So you see, President Mahama has actually placed us on the globe. He spoke without intimidation. He spoke as if there was no time for explanation. And you see, that is what we want. See, if we should get African leaders like President Mahama, President Ruto of Kenya, and then the President of Botswana, trust me, Africa is going to move forward. And Africa, we are going to make a name for ourselves. Because if you listen to these three presidents, the speech of the president of Kenya, the speech of the president of Botswana, and then the speech of president of Ghana, you could see that we are waking up. We are actually waking up from the slumber. Because we've been sidelined for too long. You said we are part of an organization, and then it's look as if our decisions does not count on a table. And I like the fact that President Mahama stated that African immigrants in the Western countries, they are not criminals, as they've stated. If African immigrants find themselves in any of the Western regions, it doesn't mean that they are criminals for them to be treated that way. And even if we are to tell these people to compensate us for the slave trade we went through in the hands of them, I think that this shouldn't be where we are. But for peace to reign and for us to see ourselves as one people, we forgo all those stuffs. So why should you sideline us when you yourself have already stated that Africa is actually making headway when it has to do with UN General Assembly? And you see, President Mahama said, we've been quiet for too long. Now we are no longer going to be quiet. And you say he made a statement that resources that are meant to be ours, we send it to them. And after it has been refined, they take 90% of the shares, and then we, the owners of the resources, are being given 10%. So we are using our own resources to enrich them. It doesn't make sense because we are helping you, and then you just wake up and then you feel like, oh, Africans do not really contribute to anything that has to do with the Western world, and so we are going to restrict their visas. We are going to restrict their visas and then give them like 5 months. And I know you remember that. Some time ago, Donald Trump said Africans can no longer have their way in their country. Even if you can come there, it has to do with a duration of 5 months. If some countries even got up to 4 months, 3 months. Then afterwards, you pack your things and then you come back to your country. So it looks as if we have everything, but we cannot see it. And our hands are being tied. But you see, what happened during that meeting clearly shows that we are waking up as Africans. It clearly shows that we are fed up. And that is the spirit. That is what we want to see. That is what we want our leaders to portray out there. I mean, you should go and see how Ghana was projected on the map. Why wouldn't you be happy as a Ghanaian? Because the president represented us well as a country. He didn't only represent Ghana, but then he represented Africa. And that is the spirit of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. That is why I said, if we have presidents like President Mahama, we have presidents like President Ruto of the Kenya, we have presidents like the president of Botswana, trust me, we will make it. We will make it. And because these people, they feel like, and so whatever they bring to us, we take it. And as much as and they impose things on us, and we've been quiet for so long. But share now, say you are giving it to us because you feel like you are doing us a favor. You can't take it. We wouldn't shake. But the best thing we also have to do is to improve upon ourselves. So now we are prompting them and then creating the awareness that our hands are no longer tied. Even if we were blind before, now our eyes are opened. We can take decision on our own. If you want us to be part of the UN the board, and you regard us as Africans for boldly stating that Africa is actually contributing a lot, and you don't see anything wrong with you not including them on the board of members that takes decision when it has to do with financially, economical side, institutions, investment, education, health sectors and everything, then we better exclude ourselves. And you see, after President Mahama delivered a speech and everything, it wasn't so long. Donald Trump came out to apologize to President Mahama. And the most exciting part of it was that the 5-month visa restriction has now been extended to 5 years for Ghanaians. So instead of we traveling a restricted months, like 4 months or so, it has now been expanded to 5 years. So you can now travel as a Ghanaian from Ghana to US, or wherever you want to go in the Western world, and then you can spend like 5 years there. Sometimes it's good to open up. It's good to talk. We are not saying this to intimidate any of the African countries, but this is what we are saying. We need to be bold. We need to let them know how we feel, because we are humans. Just as they are humans. They breathe, we breathe. When someone causes them pain, they feel it. The same way we also feel it. How will they feel if we are treating them that way? And is it because there's some privileges we enjoyed from them, so they are going to do it? So they feel like they can do anything to us on, or just back out? Now, it was clearly stated that Africans, we are no longer afraid. We are not longer afraid of this Western countries. Whatever they want to do, they should go on and do it. And we can actually stand on our own. And that is the blood. That is how Africans we are made to be. We are made to be independent and not dependent. And so to the president, that was an excellent one. To all the presidents of the African countries that placed African on the map during the UN meeting, that was so perfect. And we hope that such will continue. It wouldn't just end there, but we are going to also see improvement. Because you don't go and say that now about country, you also have to improve. Thank you for making time with me on the screen.